Gone Tomorrow. Hardest Platinum Relic in the game, in my opinion. And you can't even blame this one on controls like Hog Ride. This one is pretty much pure skill, and I'll explain why once we get to the end of this first section. But first, everything in this segment has to be done nearly flawlessly. You want to save all the time you can here. And you want to cut as many corners as possible. Yeah, that time that guy started moving. It's kind of weird. I don't know exactly what triggers that UFO to move. And sometimes the cycles are off on those lasers there. But here, you want to make sure that you get all of these. And you also want to make sure you slide jump over that gap, cut the corner here. And ideally, you want to be at 20 seconds on the clock when you touch this platform. Because there are 2 of these very long platform ride segments in this level, and because you're forced to waste a lot of time waiting for them, it means that everything in between them has to be basically perfect. So jump on that, spin the Aku Aku mask, go invincible, spend as much time on the forward conveyor belt as possible, and as little time on the backward conveyor belt as possible. Here you want to hop a little bit, don't get stuck on those bouncy boxes like I always had. Drop down there, then jump off that 2 seconds. And into the final stretch. Yeah, there's so much more I could talk about regarding this, but just I don't have enough time. Basically, everything needs to be perfectly optimized. Here, you'd want to jump up here, grab that invincibility, dash across, get this cluster of time freezes, and then dash for dear life into the portal, because I got platinum by 1/100th of a second. And I'm so glad I didn't realize that at the time, because I probably would have had a heart attack if I did. So after that, Orange Asphalt is actually kind of a breather. So much of a breather, in fact, that I decided to do this without giving the other cars a head start. It's really not that bad, and probably I missed that. Yeah, and you can still tell I got platinum. Yeah, it's pretty lenient. Probably, in my opinion, the easiest out of the car levels or motorbike levels to get a platinum relic on. It's, like I said, really not too bad, so yeah, I guess I can use this time to talk a bit more about Gone Tomorrow. Yeah, like, really, you have to experience Gone Tomorrow to realize how tough that is. I don't know if it was that brutal in the original, but it's certainly brutal in this version. You have just barely enough time to get platinum. I just barely made it. It's just everything in between those 2 platform rides has to be nearly perfect. You have to perfect everything, cut as many corners as you can, slide jump across pits, that kind of thing. I mean, I guess now's a good time to mention this, is that there's a technique called hob sliding, named after a speedrunner, that involves spin sliding, so sliding and then doing a spin at the end of the slide to retain a bit of your slide momentum into the spin and not have as much lag from the end of the slide, and then immediately jumping and I think spinning again when you hit the ground afterwards. I'm not totally sure how it works, but a lot of people use that to get the platinum relics. I prefer to get them the, like, quote-unquote intended way. But yeah, Gone Tomorrow, I don't know if hob sliding would make it easier, but if it does, I'd probably recommend doing that, because yeah, that platinum relic is downright evil. But now we're in the final stretch, just grab as many of these as you can. I couldn't go out of my way for that one. As you can tell, I missed quite a few time freezes here, and I still got platinum, so this level's really not that bad. And yeah, got first place in the race too. Beat platinum by about a second, even with all those time freezes I missed. So next is Flaming Passion. Weirdly, I consider this the easiest of the 3 Arabian levels to get platinum on. Missed that guy for a second there. I like to shoot him out of the way with the bazooka, because it makes getting through here easier. And I've switched back to Coco here because, yeah, let's give Coco a bit of screen time. That guy has an annoying tendency to hit you, and as with every Arabian level, you really want masks here. So, jump across here, dash through. I like to completely ignore those carpets and do that. Either hit those TNTs or try and spin the 2-second time freezes out from under them if possible. Get over here, quickly jump around that. Now, this swordsman up here is always really annoyingly positioned. I like to wait for him slightly. And there's also a really annoyingly placed fire thrower here. And here you just want to hold the jump button there to make sure that you get maximum height off of that. Don't have to jump to the other platform. There are actually no hanging grates in this level, but going invincible is still really useful. Mainly because here, it means you don't have to go out of your way to spin that one. And Tornado Spin glide over that, and go in the portal. So yeah, I got off Platinum by quite a bit, but yeah, wow, that developer time is pretty low. Overall, really not that bad of a level for Platinum. And here is Mad Bombers, and I'm using Coco for this, just to show that she's available for this level. Just like Bye Bye Blimps, this one is all about planning a route, but for this one you actually kind of do want to shoot the clock from a distance. Because you want to go for, I'm actually deciding to go for this bomber first. I tried to follow Garland the Great's route for this one, but I ended up deviating slightly. And I still don't know if I found the optimal way to take out the bombers. It's a little annoying that it's kind of hard to tell how much damage you've got on each engine. Sometimes it looks like I've destroyed one engine, and then it turns out that I actually haven't destroyed the other one. And other times I take out one engine, and then I see the bomber crash, and I'm like, oh, looks like I already destroyed the other engine. So yeah, you just want to sweep your fire and make sure you hit as much of both engines as possible. See, yeah, that one I had to swerve around a little bit to get because I didn't get quite enough hits on the other engine. And I believe the bombers actually shoot back at you in this one, unlike the blimps, so this level can actually be kind of tough. And I think the platinum times were a lot either high. I think they were a lot lower in the original version of the game, but the plane may have moved faster there, I'm not sure. And managed to take that guy out from a distance. I think I only barely got platinum on that one. No, I made it by about 2 seconds, but yeah, that dev record's a lot better, so there's probably a more optimal route for that one. And now Bug Light. This is actually a very unique level as far as the Egypt ones are concerned. I waited for a few seconds here, but I actually don't think it's necessary. So there are doors in this level, just like in Sphinxinator. And like in that one, doors are the bane of your existence for time trials, because if you have to wait for them, you've basically missed platinum. But weirdly, I've always found the doors always in the same positions in this level, regardless of when I actually started the level and got the clock, which means I think these doors are actually on local cycles, not global ones. And yeah, I like to just waste my mask on those to get through them quickly. Either that, or these doors start their cycle the moment you enter the tomb and not when you're outside, because it always seems like every time those doors are always in the same position. So I don't think waiting to pick up the clock actually helps. But you get free invincibility here, but despite that, I still always find there's a door coming up that your invincibility always wears off just before that door. You might be able to keep your invincibility a little further. Yeah, here's the door right here, and it wore off, so I had to wait a bit. I thought at this point I was screwed, but as you can tell by this still ending up in the recording, obviously I still made platinum. Gotta quickly get through that door, and there's another door coming up. Actually, no, that's fine. So, run along here, cut over these pits, get as many of the time freezes as possible, because the time here is actually fairly tight. And unfortunately, I did not get the thing where you die but still get the Platinum Relic. But yeah, barely made that. That level's not that easy. Welcome to the very, very aptly named Ski Crazed. I went into this level thinking it wouldn't be that bad. After all, the Platinum time's only like 36 seconds or something. It turns out that despite that low time, this level's actually very long, which makes mistakes all the more punishing. And because it's so long, it's very dependent on getting time freezes. If you miss even a single time freezer, it's much, much harder to get the Platinum Relic. This level actually is generally agreed to be pretty hard, and the first trouble point is right here. You have to swerve very heavily there, because you've got to make sure you get both of those time freezes on that jump. It might look like we're going out of the way for those, but every time freezer matters here. Because this level takes about 2.5 minutes to get through, but it only has a time requirement of 36 seconds. So this part's really not that bad. Grab these, get the 3, make sure you get that 3, and grab this mask. Now, it doesn't totally matter where you use this mask, but what's coming up is a point that screwed me over in a lot of my runs. So, coming up is a cluster of 3 time freezes surrounded by bombs. I think I actually approached them from the wrong angle. I watched another video and it turns out that you can actually approach them from kind of above rather than here, because as you can see, I missed the 3 seconds there, and I thought that I was done, because as you can tell here, I'm already very close to the platinum time. But here's the thing, if you do everything right at this point, you keep the clock frozen until the end of the level. So that's the goal from here on. But for that endeavor, you need to make sure that you get every time freezer you can. You can afford to miss a couple of 1s, but you need to make sure you get all of the 2s and 3s. Because, as I said, you have to keep that clock frozen until you enter the end of level portal. Because if I lose any more milliseconds here, I'm not going to get platinum. So, clock has to stay frozen. I was completely panicking at this point, but I did miss a couple of time freezes. You need to get the Nitro Exploder there, because that will actually break a couple of the time freezes for you. Here I'm going to avoid that ramp and grab this 1, get this 3, get this other 1, and I actually slowed down slightly here to wait for the portal to open before going in. Because in a few of my runs, I actually, like that portal, basically I sailed past the portal before it opened, and I got stuck behind it, and it didn't register the level completing. That was infuriating. But anyway, here's Rings of Power. This level is overall not that bad if you can get used to quickly using the brake to make rapid adjustments to your turns. Just spin through all of the rings. I didn't end up needing to use the brakes that much. You might see me use the brake here a bit. So yeah, right there, that's a rapid brake. So you've got to like quickly tap the brake button, quickly turn, then let go of the brake button again quickly when you've got the right angle. You can see I did another quick brake turn there. You need to kind of master that quick brake turn in this level to cut these corners as tight as you can without slowing down too much. But once you've got that, the platinum time for this level is fairly lenient, I find. There aren't any time freezes at all, it looks like, so it's really all about spinning through the rings. I actually didn't spin through that one. And turning well. I do think the turning controls were a lot better in the original game from what I remember. So this is yet another one of those levels that is a bit annoying because of controls, but I got platinum, so yeah. That's really all that matters. That was kind of a breather after how nightmarish Ski Crazed was. And Hot Cocoa is nightmarish for a different reason. This one, you really need to plan out your route, but even after you've planned a route, you still need to execute things very, very well. So here I slow down a little bit to make sure that I thread the needle between those bombs. The bombs have very large hitboxes, but here I like to take this one a bit more recklessly just to make up for the slowdown I did earlier. And if I do things right, I keep the clock frozen until I hit these 2 time freezes. Now I hit this time freezer, dodge around that ramp. You cannot dodge around that ramp on the right, I've learned that the hard way. And here, I slow down slightly to make sure I get those boxes without hitting the bombs, and then speed up again. That part's definitely a trouble point. Here's another trouble point. I need to slow down a little bit here so I can get this ramp, because I need these time freezes. And it's very easy to smack into those nitros if your angle is wrong. Believe me, I've done that on many, many attempts. Here too, hitting one of the nitros here is just soul crushing. But now that we have the Nitro Exploder, it's time for the return trip. So for the return trip, they have these conveniently placed 2-second time freezes here. Gonna get all of those. Now, don't go for those 2-second ones that were directly in front of me there. Turn around and go for this ramp instead. You really don't have enough time to get out of your way to get those. Grab this one, and here we need to get this 2-second and then swerve so it hit the bombs. We need to get this one, and now we're on the home stretch. We just have to not hit one more cluster of bombs, grab these 2 seconds, and get in the portal. So I stole this route from Gull the Great, but it turns out I actually got a better time than him in the end. Which is interesting, because he did a few segments a bit faster than I did. Also, Hot Cocoa, I never realized, but in the original it had the same kind of look as Ski Crazed, but here it looks like it's at early sunset or even sunrise compared to Ski Crazed's late sunset. But that gives us the final relic in the game, giving us 104%. And now, if we check our menu, we have 30 relics, all of them platinum.